Donald Trump just met face-to-face with Vladimir Putin in Alaska, and the world is buzzing. At that summit, Trump hinted that Ukraine might have to make painful concessions, including giving up Crimea. Just days later, President Volodymyr Zelenskyy rushed to Washington, standing shoulder to shoulder with U.S. and European leaders, declaring that Ukraine will never surrender its land. This meeting has ignited a storm of reactions, from Kyiv's parliament to the streets of Moscow, and it could change the entire course of the Russia-Ukraine war. In this video, we'll break down exactly what happened at the Trump-Putin talks, Zelenskyy's powerful response, and what it all means for the future of global politics. Good evening. In recent days, the world has witnessed a flurry of diplomatic activity that could reshape the future of the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Former U.S. President Donald Trump met with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Alaska, while Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy responded with a high-profile visit to Washington, D.C. Tonight, we take an in-depth look at these events, their implications, and what they mean for the international stage. The Russia-Ukraine war, now in its fourth year, has caused widespread devastation and drawn global attention. While negotiations and diplomacy continue, the situation on the ground remains volatile. In this special report, we explore the history, recent developments, and the human stories behind the headlines. Ukraine became an independent nation in 1991 following the collapse of the Soviet Union. Yet tensions with Russia persisted. In 2014, Russia annexed Crimea, citing historical ties and strategic interests. The move was condemned internationally, setting the stage for years of conflict in eastern Ukraine. The annexation of Crimea was a turning point. It challenged international norms and led to a conflict that is still shaping global geopolitics today. Despite multiple ceasefire attempts, Russia-backed separatists have continued to fight in Donetsk and Luhansk. Meanwhile, Ukraine seeks closer ties with the West, including NATO membership, which Moscow views as a threat. On August 15th, Donald Trump met with Vladimir Putin in Anchorage. The summit focused on Ukraine and broader U.S.-Russia relations. Trump's comments suggesting Ukraine consider territorial concessions sparked immediate global concern. The summit concluded without a formal agreement, leaving many questions about the next steps in diplomacy. In response to the summit, President Zelenskyy visited Washington, D.C., accompanied by top European leaders. He emphasized that Ukraine will not cede territory and called for international guarantees for security. Zelenskyy's visit sends a clear message. Ukraine seeks both diplomatic engagement and firm security assurances. The suggestion of territorial concessions drew strong opposition in Ukraine. Lawmakers and public figures condemned the idea, arguing that it could embolden Russia. Domestic opinion heavily influences Ukraine's negotiating stance, ensuring leaders remain committed to defending the nation's sovereignty. Despite diplomatic developments, fighting continues across Ukraine. Russian strikes have targeted civilian areas, underscoring the ongoing humanitarian crisis. The battlefield reality is stark. Ukraine relies heavily on international support to defend itself while diplomacy unfolds. Global leaders reacted swiftly. European Union and NATO emphasized Ukraine's territorial integrity, while the United Nations called for negotiations respecting international law. Any perception of weakness could embolden Russia. Strong international support for Ukraine is a critical deterrent, domestic politics play a significant role in shaping international diplomacy, says political analyst. The coming months will determine whether diplomacy, deterrence, or continued conflict prevails. The interplay between military realities and diplomatic negotiations will shape the region's future with global consequences. Behind the headlines, the human toll of the conflict is immense. Millions have been displaced, hospitals struggle to operate, and basic necessities remain scarce. The Trump-Putin summit and Zelensky's Washington visit highlight the delicate and high-stakes nature of the Ukraine conflict. As diplomacy, military realities, and humanitarian concerns intersect, the coming months will be decisive for Ukraine, Russia, and the international community.